Hey guys, welcome back to Unconventional Itinerary. Thank you for joining me today. I know Portugal has been such a hot spot and so many people are moving here, especially Americans, but I'm constantly finding that some people are not doing as much research, or they're just focusing on what other YouTubers are putting out on just the good, and they're not actually, telling their viewers what they really should know prior to moving to Portugal. So let's hop into it. So, hi, my name is Heather Courtney. I'm a United States disabled veteran. I'm a mother. I have 2 fur babies, and I have been living in Lisbon, Portugal since August of 2021. Since moving here, I've had to make a lot of adjustments. I've had to view life in different manners, have lots of patience, and I really want to help those that are wanting to relocate to Portugal. Just give you some vital information that I think might help ease your search and just some things you should think about prior to moving here. Now, I had only been to Portugal one time, and that was back in 2010 with the Navy, and I don't remember anything about Portugal besides there were homeless women that were begging for money, local beggars, I guess you can say. I don't know if they were homeless or not, but I remember giving them money because they had a little cardboard box. It was like, oh, for the baby. And then we saw them in McDonald's buying beer. So that's just my fondest memory of Portugal. I didn't know Portugal was this diverse. I don't remember seeing any Black people besides people that were in the Navy. So coming here now and learning about the history and learning about the African presence here really has caught my attention to educate myself further and really get to know the cultures that are here present right now in Portugal. So before you come here, research is everything. I know not everyone is a good researcher. I know some people can dive deep and research every little thing. Some people, it's overwhelming, but research is everything, especially when you're coming to a foreign country that you're going to be spending thousands of dollars relocating to. Join Facebook groups. There are a plethora of Facebook groups out there for Portugal. There's Black Global, there's Black in Portugal, there's expats in Portugal, Americans in Portugal. There's so many different ones out there that you can join just to get a broader idea of what life is like coming here, what the visa requirements are, just, talking to people that are actually here on ground, getting their perspective. Another way you can do your research is read blogs. Now, blogs sometimes tend to highlight only the good side of things, but at least you could take that information and ask in these groups, hey, I read this online, or what about this? I think this is a great way to start your research. One of the best resources that are out there right now for you to get a visa to come here with a plethora of information is the American Friends and PT group on Facebook. Now, a lot of us have used them to get our visas because Susan and the rest of the community that moderates that group have put together file sections for easy navigation. That's how I got my visa here. I used, their foolproof, file section, and it worked out for me. It's worked out for thousands of other people. But I do understand that some people do prefer a different approach. They'd rather pay someone to do it. If you are looking for a relocation service provider, please check out Start Abroad. Anna and Zach are truly amazing. They have been doing this for a while. They not only cover Portugal, they cover Panama, and they cover Costa Rica. And I would definitely link their information in the description section. And if you're a Black in Portugal member, you get a discount as well for their services. Another thing that I keep seeing go around, that Portugal is so cheap to live here. I think maybe 2-3 years ago, that was like a thing, possibly. I will say that the cost of living was extremely much lower than it is right now since arriving. But Portugal is not a cheap country to live in, let me tell you. I live in city center, and I would say Portugal is affordable. It's cheaper than living in the US. Yes, 100% cheaper than living in the US. But to come here with the mindset of, oh, it's a very cheap place to live, no, definitely 100% myth. Now, when I was living in Mexico, I was paying $800, 16,000 pesos for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, penthouse suite, full bar upstairs. Downstairs, I had a terrace, I had jacuzzi, It was amazing, brand new. No one lived there in there, fully furnished, and I was paying $800. Now, where I'm living right now in my new flat, I am paying 1,800 euros for 2 bedroom, 2 bath in a modern building with concierge service and security. At my other flat that I lived at before here, I was paying 1,400 euros for 3 bedroom, 2 bath, and so many issues. So just keep in mind that it's not cheap. You will need to have a certain amount of money to live here. You know, for me, we spent about 3,000, 3,500 US dollars monthly to live here. That's just our cost of living. That includes my daughter's tuition, food, electricity, everything in between. That's how much it is for 2 people. Now, some people live differently. Some people live, you know, more expensive lifestyle. Some people are minimalist and can, you know, possibly live off of $2,000 or less a month. But just keep in mind that Portugal is not a cheap country to live in. And with that being said, with the influx of expats coming here, the price of rent has increased so much that locals cannot even afford to live where they were living before. So just keep that in mind, you know, the impacts of moving to a new country. Although we cannot place the blame on ourselves, but just know that some locals are displaced because of multiple people moving here with higher incomes that are willing to spend the money. Next, one of the different things about Portugal is plan the unexpected. Plan to experience things outside your comfort zone. Now, with that being said, let me further explain. There are different customs here. I know as Americans, we're kind of set in our ways. We're just like, okay, this is how we think. And I'm sure other countries are like that too. They're set in their ways. That's how they think. But coming here, you have to have an open mindset. You know, there are some times that I feel that people are coming off rude, you know, but I'm just like, okay, Heather, maybe they're not coming off rude. Maybe that's just like their talk language, like how they communicate. You know, I have experienced this in other countries. You know, I've lived all over the world, been to six of the seven continents. So I am very widely, you know, accustomed to different cultures. But what I'm noticing is that not everything is seen as being rude. You know, different cultures, they may talk louder, they may use their hands or their neck or whatever, but that doesn't mean they're being rude. So just be open-minded and just don't think that people are coming off rude. One of the things that I noticed when I moved here, I felt that sometimes the Portuguese people would talk very loud, and not loud in the sense like they're raising their voice, but like almost like in a direct anger manner. But that doesn't mean that they're angry. That doesn't mean that, you know, they're upset about something. You know, it could just be that's just how they talk. So just be open-minded. There might be some times where you have to speak a little bit of the Portuguese that you do know just to, you know, get whatever you're trying to get done, and it may make you feel uncomfortable. I can count countless times where I have felt uncomfortable because my Portuguese is nowhere near where it should be, and I'm struggling with words. But I believe that if you are at least trying, the Portuguese are open for the most part to figure out what you're trying to say. Or if they do speak English or a little bit of English, they will try to speak English with you. Another big misconception of Portugal is the language that is spoken here. Now, for some reason, people think Brazilian Portuguese is spoken here, and for some reason, people think Spanish is spoken here. I can understand why some people get confused. Some people don't know where Portugal is at. Portugal is literally the next door neighbor to Spain. As far as Brazilian Portuguese, that is spoken in Brazil, and in Portugal, they speak European Portuguese here. Now, I will say it can be very similar with words. If you're reading the words, very similar, if not the same. However, if you're speaking the words, two totally different dialects, some words don't translate over to others. So just be mindful when you are learning Portuguese that you are learning actually European Portuguese. Now, I think that Brazilian Portuguese is easier to learn. It sounds more sweeter. European Portuguese, I feel like it's very hard for me because the nasal sounds and the nose sounds, I haven't quite grasped yet, but it's not hard as long as you're dedicated. There are free classes through the government. There's paid classes you can do. So don't worry, there are ways for you to learn the right Portuguese while you're here. Oh, before I forget, do not use Duolingo. Duolingo is Brazilian Portuguese. Another thing you need to know about Portugal is things take forever here to get done. The bureaucracy is not the greatest. I think that If you compare it to the US, it's extremely, extremely, extremely slow. If you compare it to Mexico, it's still extremely, extremely slow. Things that should take maybe a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks the most, take months here. So be ready to have patience. Be ready for your patience to be tested, and just enjoy life while you're here. Just be in the mindset that things just take long. That's completely normal here. There's no way you can speed up the process. It's just the way of life right here. And we're actually going to backtrack to have an open mind. Having an open mind here, definitely be open to try new things. You know, here you're walking, especially if you're in city center or just a city, you're taking public transportation, you know, get in the habit of trying something new. Sometimes not our ways make sense here, and sometimes the Portuguese way makes sense. I love that, you know, we have like a what's it called, like a little cart type deal that you pull with your groceries in it. In America, I would have never gotten one of those. Like I would like, what? No, I have a car, I have hands, I can just go to my car. But here, I don't have that. So it's a trolley, like a grocery trolley. And I love it now because now I don't have to have bags on my shoulders. It can go up the stairs. It was, I think I got mine on Amazon Spain for about 45 euros, which is under 50 US dollars. So definitely be open-minded to that. Try new Portuguese dishes. Bacalhau is made 5,000 different ways. There's sardines. You can have them grilled, you can have them steamed, you can have them cut up in a dish maybe. Also, there are plenty of amazing Portuguese wines if you're a wine lover. Wine is so cheap here, you know, or very affordable compared to the US. And also partake in some traditions. I feel that there's always a holiday every month of some sort. So researching and seeing, you know, what holiday it is, how can you incorporate your life into that holiday, I think is important. I know June is a very, very, very popular holiday. Be open to share some of your cultures from your home country with locals. You know, I think it's a great thing for not only you learning about their local customs and traditions and you sharing a little bit of home with them. And lastly, give back to the community. Now, not everyone has it in them to volunteer, but just cultural exchange can go a long way. I know I've come across many that have said, I wish I could practice my English more. Or you say, hey, I wish I could practice my Portuguese more. Hey, let's meet up for a cafe and we can talk. You know, language exchange is a big one. If you have time, there's the Lisbon Project in Lisbon where you can volunteer your time there. So I hope these things were helpful for you thinking about coming to Portugal. I will catch you guys on the next one. Bye.